Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. What's up, guys? We're in the shop again today. I was gonna make a video and show you how to break the beads on a brute force, well, just a ATV tire and wheel. But instead I decided, why not go down to the other garage and check out the my Mustang I have. And it's a big time project. I've been working on it for a couple of years, and I was figuring, hey, if somebody was going to look for one, what to look for. And if you live up north where they use salt on the roads, a lot of times these cars rust out pretty easily. It's like any vehicle in general, but these cars, they rust out pretty bad. When they rust out, it's a kind of a pain in the butt to get them fixed. So I figured, hey, we'll make a little video. It's not going to be super entertaining, but it's going to be more of an informative video, and I thought you guys would enjoy that. I know I went on YouTube and I was looking for some other ones, and they had like, oh, you know, you got to look for dents and dings and stuff. Yeah, and that's understandable. But this one is more for the guys that live up north that have issues with rust, you know, with putting all the salt and stuff on the road. And if these cars are getting driven year round, you got to keep an eye open. So like I said, this video, I figured something new. Hopefully you guys find it informative and you guys enjoy it. And just like I said, I bought a 98. I've had a couple of them, but I bought a 98 and the thing was a piece. I mean, it had so much rust in it, it was ridiculous. So I don't want anybody else buying something like that, honestly. Like when somebody sells you something, you want to buy something that's, if they tell you it's good to go, you want it to be good to go. So like I said, hopefully this video is just more informative for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. All right. Oh, don't even want to get into this thing. What a pain in the butt. All right, guys, we'll go into the other one. Okay, I got myself a little light, and like I said, I just kind of leave my putty and sanding stuff in here just so it's out of the way. But either way, what we're going to do is look at some of the areas that rust out on these cars, and just some places to look for if there's any damage, and like no one's saying there was any damage or anything that was repainted, stuff like that. So first off, what you want to look for is in these trunks is this has been painted with Rust-Oleum, and it's the underneath's getting all redone as well, so we don't have to worry about that. But either way, these cars, they rot out right where the light's shining right there. You got to watch that seam. They rust out real bad, and that's very notorious for rusting out. And actually on my 98, it wasn't too bad there, but right up here, let me see. Yeah, right up around in there, it was real bad. It started rusting out. I had some holes coming up through on both sides. And actually on the back side, right where the seat, if you take the seat down and you pull it off and start taking some of the stuff off down out there, which I'll show you, that was doing the exact same thing. It was starting to get some big rust holes. So I had to cut them out, weld some patches in there, which obviously you don't want to do when you buy a car, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. So that is a big spot to keep an eye on. And let me see if I can find the damage. This car was rear-ended. Okay, like right here. As you can see, that's all mangled up. Okay, so if it's covered, you're not going to see it. When you have the carpets and stuff all in here, you never see that. But that's a good thing to look and see if it was rear-ended, which I knew it was. It's all recorded that it was hit, and repainted. And this is some people would know it's an E8 car, so it's that like vermilion red, or they call it like another red too for the whatever year it is. But so it's very expensive paint. Not as expensive as my other car that I have, but very expensive nonetheless. So what happened was, you could see where, if you in the right light, you could see where this car was repainted. And again, you got to keep an eye on that, and you got to keep an eye on different things, like when you're looking off the fender lines, and you got to look up here, and you can maybe see sometimes they get some overspray if they don't do it correctly, or they don't do it perfect. I mean, you'd see some overspray or some fresh paint or some paint that doesn't look correct. Keep an eye on that. And then you know, hey, maybe that fender was replaced. You know, this fender was all dinged up, and the door was actually, obviously you can see, is off and getting, the original door is gone. Actually, it's over here, but I got a new door for it that we're redoing. But again, keep an eye on from overspray. I never looked for that until my cousin, which is a body guy, he told me about that. He's like, look for overspray on like fender lines and different things. He's like in here, if you see some overspray, maybe at some point in time it was hit and some body work's done. So also, right in here, I had on that same one, that 98. It was in really rough shape. So I'm kind of just taking some of the notes off of that car. Is right in around in here, it started getting some rust holes. Pretty bad ones, actually. And I had to cut those out as well and weld the new plates in. And on the other side of this car, actually, it was doing it right here. Let me see. We can just go over there. He did a pretty good job. I actually don't do the body work. I do the mechanical work. My buddy does the body work. But right there, as you can see, a good bit's been done. But it started rusting out pretty bad there as well. And we cut it all out and put welded some new plates in there. And like I said, it looks pretty good. He did a real good job. I mean, he does it part-time just whenever he has some time. But either way, that's something to look for on these cars. Is I've seen them on the new Edge Mustangs as well, that they just rust out. And that's what happens with these cars, any vehicle in general. I mean, look at the new trucks and stuff that get driven year round. They all rust out. Even the core sport right here. When they have the cover on it, you can't really see anything if they cover it up real nice. But if you take the cover off, look at these things. Actually, on that 98 as well. Like I said, most of this is going to be off the 98, but the 98 started rusting out here, and actually down below. Let me see if we can get underneath there. Yeah, see this one's boom right there. See that? You can tell it's been hit. Not very good. That sucks. But you know, it is what it is. But the other one was actually rusting out. It was like gone. So this one's still there. It's just not in very good shape, and we'll have to get repaired later. Let me see. And that's about it for that spot. And right here, this is like the lifting points. As you can see, it's a little rusty underneath. We're gonna rusty. We're going to clean all this up and get it all redone as well. That's why this car hasn't been on the road in a couple years, but it's gonna get all redone. But either way, that car, none of this was even there. It was all rusted out completely. So keep an eye on that. That's where like the lifting point is. And the you can put reinforcements and stuff in there, like way up in there. You can weld them in or bolt them in. I think that's the easiest way of doing it. But yeah, keep an eye on that in these areas. I mean, if it's not undercoated and if it's driven up, you know, in the salt belts, that's what happens. They just completely rust out. But yeah, that's I mean, from what I saw, oh, you know what, a bad one. The worst part of that car at the time was actually underneath the seat. And if you're going to buy one of these cars, best thing to do is bring a screwdriver. If you can get your finger underneath there and pry up right on each side, right here and right there. If you can see it on the light there, there's little tabs that you push in and the seats come up. Look underneath there. I actually just put all this back together yesterday, but look underneath there. That's where that car was completely rusted out there. I mean, huge chunks that we were cutting out, and it was just falling apart, and we had to weld all new. Like the whole seat back here on both sides underneath was just like gone, and we had to cut them out, re-weld all new sheet metal in. And again, that's where I was saying about that back piece. It was starting to rust up and down through here behind this. So keep an eye. Takes you 4 seconds to take that seat, move it up just so you can look underneath it. Very good idea to do if you are looking to buy one of these cars. If you're down south, not like Florida or anything like that, more than likely you don't have to worry about that. But anything up here, you know, around Pennsylvania, up north, keep an eye open. Let me see what else. Yeah, so that's the rust spots that I saw. And we started getting some underneath, but you won't be able to see it unless I have the car jacked up pretty high. I had some other rust spots coming directly underneath here. Let's see if I can even, like, yeah, you can see I got long tubes on it. But like up in there is where it was starting to rust out, like way up in there above the transmission. So, and other spots that you got to keep an eye on. But yeah, like I said, guys, you got to keep an eye on all that type of stuff. And let's see when you're looking at cars, you're looking at buying something, there's other things. We might go into that in another video because this one's already getting kind of long. But for me, the cars that I've had, I've looked for. That's the spots that I've looked for the rust, and that's what I found on the most. And that's almost happened not on all of them, but on most of them, because my 2000 GT was doing the exact same thing. Back here started to get some bubbles, and if you see bubbles, it's not like, oh, they're like, oh, it's just surface rust. No, it's not. If you see bubbles already, then it's worse than what you think. And it's actually way back in there. As you can see, it's like I spray painted it with some yellow because that's all I had. But back in there, that's when we cleaned all that up out. It was really dirty up in there too. So, but yeah, so keep an eye open for that. Like I said, these are for the Sn95. It's for any car in general, but for at least for these Mustangs, keep an eye open for those spots. They're really notorious. And with the trunk area, yeah, if we can go underneath, so everything's getting kind of tight now. Right here, that right there, these areas right here rust out real bad. I mean, you can kind of see we got some rust going, which needs to get cleaned up, and it's going to whenever I get this car ready to go. But you can see it already starting. So they rust out real bad in this area. So like I said, guys, keep an eye open. That's nice, got a leaking rear end too. Wonderful. So just keep adding to it. But either way, these are the hints and tips that I found, and I hope that they help you guys whenever you're looking. We'll make another video. I'm going to make another video of the what to look for when you're buying one of these cars, just mechanical wise, and we'll take a test drive of my other Mustang and show some things that they're kind of notorious for. And hopefully we will take a little ride in a 2001 GT convertible, and we'll do some reviews on that one. That's actually my mom's, and she's had some issues, and we want to go over some of those things as well. So said, if you guys have any other questions, if you want to see anything else on these cars, I can jack them up. We can go underneath them, check some other things out, and let me know. All right, we'll talk to you later, guys.